Hey guys, so I've had quite a few requests to do a comparison between the Nexus 5X and the Moto X Style, two phones which coming at very similar kind of price points, and I think a lot of people are mulling over whether it's worthwhile to pay for the Style here on the right or the Nexus 5X. Two very nice stock-like phones. And I think also the Nexus 6P will be on people's eye as well. Hope to get that in eventually, but in this video we wanted to do a comparison between these two. So we're just going to start them both up at the same time. We're just going to check out basically what the main strengths and weaknesses are of each phone now that I've had it for like a couple of days. Obviously I don't know everything about the phones yet, I'm still learning about the battery, etc. The signs are pointing to be very good actually for the Nexus 5 for the battery, although some people online have been saying that it's not that good. Not really sure too much about the Moto X yet though, because my attention's been mostly on the Nexus, and we'll get to the reason for that in a moment. But you can see we have basically set them up here pretty much. And I'm just going to turn the brightness down a little bit on the Moto. So basically we can just start off here what things I prefer about like each device starting off. And the first thing that hit me when I unboxed the Nexus 5X was that it wasn't quite as ugly as I thought it was from like the press renders, etc. And it feels much more comfortable in the hand than I was expecting. It does like have a lot of plastic construction though, and it does feel like a cheap phone, kind of like two layers sandwiched together here. So those who do enjoy the premium feeling won't get any of that with the Nexus 5X. However, it does have the one-hand ability that you don't get with too many Androids nowadays, that many people will enjoy with the Nexus 5X. On the other hand, we have the Moto X Style, which is quite a big phone. Not as big as I was expecting though. I was expecting like a Shamu Beast, but it actually feels a lot more compact and usable. Not quite as usable in one hand as the Nexus 5X, so people with smaller hands will not like this device, I don't think. But I do like the way they've really maximised the screen real estate. You can see the bezel on the Moto is a lot better than the Nexus 5X, which you can see still has quite a lot of bezel there, which could be used a bit more efficiently. The actual device itself feels like it's built like a tank. It's like a bigger version of the Moto X 2014. Feels much more rugged and well constructed than the Moto X Play. The Moto X Play feels well constructed in itself, don't get me wrong, but this kind of side here is actually more plasticky than it looks, whereas the Style actually has real kind of aluminium, and you can really feel like the tank-like power of it. So I do definitely enjoy the build quality here on the Style more than the Nexus. Having said that, the Nexus is more comfortable in the hand because it is like a one-handed device. So moving on, we can have a look here at the displays. Now you probably already noticed actually the display on the Nexus is actually dim compared to the Moto X Style, which can actually go all the way up here to the max and is very bright, whereas this one is on the max here. And I have turned off the adaptive as well, you can see. So that's one thing which I'm not really feeling about the Nexus 5X. I was expecting them to bring over kind of like some of the nice technology they've been using in the latest G phones, like the G4. If you look at the G4 display here and compare it with the Nexus, you'll notice how like bad the viewing angles are, etc., as well as the general brightness. I wasn't expecting them to bring over the Quad HD, but just like the quality of the LCD panel in the G4, that's what I was expecting. It's very, decent nevertheless. It's a full HD display. It gets the job done, but I'm not feeling it as much as I would have probably felt it if they had made more of an effort there. On the other hand, the Style has an absolutely beautiful display, which I wasn't expecting actually. I was expecting it to be quite poor compared to the AMOLED displays of the past. But you can see the viewing angles are absolutely beautiful here. You can also customize it a little bit more to make it more colourful. So the brightness is pretty good as well. I've not used it outdoors actually yet, but I'm anticipating that it should be quite good when going outdoors. And the big nature of it means it's a beast for consuming content, which is good. I've actually noticed as well, like another phone, the Moto X Play, to me actually has a better display, full HD panel than the Nexus here. Maybe you can notice that it's brighter. It's also better in terms of the viewing angles. I don't want to sound like I'm railing against the 5X. There are some things which are better on the 5X I'm going to get onto in a moment, but the display is definitely not its strong point, and I think most people who do enjoy displays will look elsewhere really. Now we can talk about the actual performance. Actually, there's not really much to talk about. The performance on both of them is absolutely brilliant. I've not had any issues with either of them. Don't know why this just flipped then. But when you consider that we're getting Snapdragon 808 in both of them, slightly more RAM in the Moto X Style, micro SD expandability and 32 gigs internal storage, you are getting a bit more for your money in the Moto X Style, if we're to be honest. I would have liked a little bit more kind of boosted specs, I think, for the Nexus 5X. It's coming with like the same kind of specs as you got in 2013 with the LG G2, and things like that. But at the end of the day, what matters is the performance, and as I've done another video, I've been really killing it, going back and forth into things and checking it out, and so far it's been handling things very good. So I think that could be down to Marshmallow, which going to get onto the things which I really do love about the 5X here now, and that is the Marshmallow kind of experience. It feels like a much more kind of exciting device in the Moto X Style, which, if I'm to be honest, feels a little bit kind of been there, done that. I do like the stock kind of build here, and as well as the the additions such as the Moto Voice, very useful, which you don't get on the Nexus. However, the things such as the fingerprint sensor, as well as the Marshmallow out of the box, the new kind of animations, etc., make this to me a little bit more exciting and fun to use. So I think if you're looking for a more fresh experience, the Nexus 5X definitely is something to consider here. It's also going to get updates a lot quicker, I think, than the Moto X Style. Motorola has been slipping a little bit when it comes to its commitments lately, if you've looked in the news, particularly with lower end devices. Obviously we do have the Fingerprint Scanner. That's whether you like that or not, it's not a huge big deal, but it does make going into it quicker. Android Pay as well is going to be coming out, I think, on the Nexus a little bit quicker than the Style, but eventually it should come down as well. So I could go on a little bit more here. I think there are some other things as well which are going to be better on the Nexus, but I will be doing another video like speed test to check out how they compare, as well as camera test. I think the camera is going to be better in terms of the low light on the Nexus, because it does have bigger like pixels compared to the Moto, which has a good camera, but I don't think the low light is quite as strong. However, the Moto does come back with its turbocharging, which is absolutely fantastic. Type-C is already starting to cause me some annoyance, because unlike the OnePlus 2, you don't actually get a cable which can connect to older kind of computers. It has to be like a Type-C computer, so I'm going to have to get an adapter just to connect to my computer, which is annoying. Nevertheless, I think, as I said, I am enjoying the experience on both of them. There are definitely some strengths and weaknesses, though, to consider with these two. There's other things that I've not talked about too much, such as the front-facing speakers, which absolutely sound fantastic, actually, on the Moto X style. I've been listening to a YouTube video about an hour or so, and I was blown away with how good they actually sound. So I will obviously be doing some comparisons there. Also, I will be monitoring the battery lives. I think getting 2,700 versus 3,000 to see how they hold up. I've heard some reports that the LG is a little bit weak in terms of the battery life, but as I said, I'm not really experiencing that so far. It seems to be holding up quite well. The Moto X style, it's got a big QHD to power here, so I don't think it's going to hold up quite as well as the Moto X Play. And whoever made the decision to put a 3000 mAh in and like a 3800 or something in the Play, they need to be fired, because it's like, why would you even do that? That sounds like not common sense to me. But then again, I guess if they made the perfect phone, then you wouldn't have any reason to upgrade, so that's probably the reason for that. But yeah, some definite pros and cons to consider here, but I hope you found it helpful if you are looking at these two. Do stay tuned for a comparison I will be doing, and if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.